Okay, here I sit the morning after Election Day, and I too, like all of you, am a bit emotional about it. Half of the country is joyful, and the other half are in tears. I guess I'm part of that other half because obviously the person who I most wanted to get in there did not make it. And or at least I, for my part, am stuck for 4 more years with what I had the last 4 years. What a dismal prospect that is. Well, I'm not here this morning to comment about who's in the White House. I'm here primarily to comment about that vehicle by which he got to the White House, and that's our voting system. Yesterday, I, like millions of Americans, went to the polls and was somewhat disappointed with what I saw. Number one, the inefficiency by which the voting installation I was at was run. It was like a bunch of kindergartners. Well, maybe that's a disservice to kids that are in kindergarten, but it was very inefficient. They were slow. For the longest of time, the line was stagnant, not moving. The actual voting booths were most of the time empty. There were people cutting the line. There were people doing multiple votings, if you will. They would go and vote, and then, oh, I made a mistake, and then they'd get another ballot. And I made a mistake on that one. This took place about 4 or 5 times. And not once did I see the corrupted ballots being torn up and thrown away. So led me to believe, what'd you do with those ballots? Did you actually, let them slide in and potentially taint the process by doing so? They were concerned with keeping the line straight more so than keeping the line moving. And then there's the fact that when I actually stepped up before the person that was doing the checkoff of the various voters, I had my ID ready to show her. Oh, I don't need that. I think that you would need that. How do you know that I'm who I say I am? I mean, when we do anything these days, first thing they want to see is your ID. We no longer have the possibility of identity theft. I think that's very much a reality these days. People steal parcels of mail out of other people's mailboxes to steal their identity. Just suppose someone had gone to get the sample ballot, and there were a lot of voters there yesterday who were without their sample ballots. Well, suppose some other person had gotten hold of it and said, well, hey, I'm Curious George, and I'm here to vote. Here's my voter registration. Well, if you don't ask for identification, then you really don't know who you're letting in the voting booth, whether it be a real citizen or some, illegal person that shouldn't even be here, and they're chancing to vote and put someone in office. I think we desperately need to check our system of voting to make sure and ensure that the people actually punching off and ticking off these little items are bona fide voters, registered, identified voters who actually, have the right to be there. Well, as far as Mitt Romney and his campaign, I think he did the best he could himself. But if you look at the two campaigns, this other fellow, I can't even call his name right now. Ugh. But this other fellow who was elected last night, his folks were on it, and he had a lot of supporters. Mr. Clinton was at the forefront, banging the drum for him. With Mitt, I felt that he didn't get as much support as he could have gotten. George Bush certainly was not there banging the drum for him. Neither was John McCain. And this Chris Christie fellow, who I did have a lot of respect for, until Hurricane Sandy hit his town as well as the other ones. And by the way, my heart goes out to those victims. But Mr. Christie, if you will, drove the final nail in Romney's coffin when he praised high heaven this fellow that occupies the White House at the present time. That was hurtful. And even as far back as a Republican National Convention, I learned last evening that Ann Romney had been so hopeful that they would put on this video that was made about her husband, you know, to show what a nice person he was, to get the American public more acclimated to who Mitt Romney really is. Instead, they went with Clint Eastwood and his debacle of, oh God, it was pitiful. They went with that instead of the video, and I think that was, you know, ridiculous. It would have been more apropos to get Donald Trump. You know, he's a well-known celebrity. He's a businessman. He knows about finance. He would have been more in step with what Romney was talking about as far as the economy than Clint Eastwood getting up there making a clown out of himself. If they wanted to do it for the little, you know, glitzy saying of "make my day," well, you know, Donald Trump has one too. You're fired. And I think that would have been appropriate, as we needed to have fired this person that's in the White House at present. But since they, you know, decided not to do that, there's no need to mix apples with oranges. The fellow lost, and now we're in hell for the next 4 years. And what can I say? I am disappointed. I think it's a bad thing for our country. It's further degradation of our country. People are free to vote whichever way they did, which is more than obvious. But on my side of the ticket, Mitt Romney's getting in there and failing was a question mark. But this person that's already in there is not, because he's been in there for 4 years and hasn't done much of anything. And how somebody could make the conscious decision to put someone back in there that's not going to do anything is beyond me, but, you know, to each his own. And then there's the folks that are going around talking, my president is black. I don't care if the president is plaid. I would be more interested in my president is, you know, efficient. My president knows what the hell he's doing. That's what I want my president to be. I don't care what color he is. He could be chartreuse for all I care. And just because he has the appearance of being black, he doesn't get a free ride from me. There again, you know, I guess maybe I'm sounding like a politician. Are you better off now than you were? Well, those of you who have jobs and food and gas in your car or a car, you might say, well, yeah, it's good, you know. Well, I'm thinking about those that don't have cars, that are footing it, riding the bus, doing as James Brown would say, getting on the good foot. Those who are hungry, those who are either about to be thrown out of their homes or don't have homes at all, those who don't have jobs, don't have an income, those who are not in the middle class. And that's another thing that sort of got on my nerves about both candidates. They're so gung-ho about the middle class. But what about those with no class? What are those who are sitting on rock bottom? You know, I heard a couple of times you want to give a ladder so they can climb up. Well, some of them don't even have ladders. So, you know, the U.S. political system is a joke. We all know that. And you don't need to hear that further from me. But now that this person is back in there, I sincerely hope that maybe, you know, he can do something. You know, but I don't see it because he's alienated the other side. And if you looked at the debates between both he and that other person that is his running, I can't even name these people. That's how disgusted I am. If you looked at those debates, you can sort of understand why the other side, the Republicans, don't want to work with them, because they come in with this cocky, crappy attitude that, you know, whatever you say is nothing. They're so condescending and just two jerks. It's no wonder nobody wants to work with them. So now that's what we had to put up with the first 4 years. Those of you who voted for these two persons, did you stop to think that it's not going to get any better because the Republicans still control a vast majority of what these two people would have to, you know, work with? So they're going to be butting heads. John Boehner, he's not going to bend. You know, he's going to be a stalwart, banging a drum for the other side. So it's going to be 4 more years of the same business unless somebody breaks. Unless somebody is willing to go the distance and say, well, I don't care what party it is, I'm going to do this because it helps the American people. See, this new mentality of folks about battling and being on the attack, I've never known such garbage. You know, back in the day when people, they were looking at the issues, they were looking at what could be done good for America and who would be the best person by which to make that happen. Not who kicked some ass or who went on the attack and, oh, he can box and, oh, he got him last night and all of that. That's not worth a tinker's damn when you're hungry. That's not worth a tinker's damn when you're about to be put out of your house. That's not a tinker's damn when gas prices are $5 and going up. I'm not about anybody battling. I want somebody that's going to battle the inflation. I want somebody that's going to battle the recession. And then I'm pretty sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard something about this person who was reelected now wanting to sit down with Mr. Romney and get his ideas. Oh, God, what a crock. How can you sit there for, all of 8 months or 6 months or however the hell long they campaigned and totally destroy a person and then want to turn around and, oh, I want to work with you now. I want your help. What a load of crap that is. This person that's in the White House did the same to Hillary Clinton. When she was right alongside of him running for president, he destroyed the woman. Her husband even said, you know, why don't you let up off Hillary? What has she done to you personally for you to attack her like that? He tried to destroy her. Dug up all kinds of crap on the woman. Then when he gets in president, see, I'm so emotional about this, can't speak. When he gets to be the president, then, oh, Hillary, I'd like for you to be my Secretary of State. And she accepted. I'd have told him to go to hell. See, you limey bastard. How dare you lambaste me on the campaign trail and then try to snuzzle up to me and want me to be your Secretary of State? But, politics, strange bedfellows. But anyway, for me and my part, I'm going to do like other Americans who are not pleased with this turn of events last night and try to make it. Lord knows I wish I could hit the lottery so I could get passage to another country or somewhere, because this one is shot to hell. But anyway, for the next election, if nothing else comes to pass, I'd like to see, and if anybody out there in power is listening to this, some way by which we can tighten up on this situation, because yesterday what I saw really got to me. No identification of voters. Anybody could have stepped up to the voting booth and done their damage. I don't understand in this age of 9/11, in this age of identity theft, in this age of cyber garbage, how an identification can be sloughed off as, oh, I don't need to see that. You know, how can you do that? You don't know who you're allowing to do things unless you have identification. Now, for the devil's advocates out there that'll say, well, hey, you can get a fake ID. Well, yeah, that's true. But at least make them go through the motion. Just don't give them a key to do whatever the hell they want and just say, oh, well, I don't need to see no identification. I don't need to see that. You know, this is ridiculous. At least put some kind of barrier there. Make them work for it. Hopefully somebody will, look at this. Maybe the LA registrar or somebody in further larger government will say, hey, maybe this poor yokel's got a point here. And, do something about this. But For those of you who got your man in there, as I said in '08, when he first got in there, I hope you're satisfied. And for the rest of us who didn't get at least a change at the helm, well, I guess we cry together. Anyway, have a good day. Have a nice 4 years, because Lord knows we're in deep trouble. Bye now.